Okay, so real talk. I had 3 exams, a lab report, and a club meeting last Tuesday. I sat at my desk for 4 hours and I did absolutely nothing. Like, I physically couldn't start. I kept opening tabs, I kept checking my phone, I kept meaning to work, and the worst part, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I just couldn't convince my brain to do it. That's not laziness. That's not a character flaw. That was a dopamine problem. And once I understood that, actually understood it from a neuroscience perspective, everything changed. So today, I'm going to give you the prescription of what I've learned. Doctor's orders. Okay, so here's what actually happening in your brain. And I'm saying this as somebody who studies molecular and cellular biology. This is not woo-woo or influencers babbling. This is literally biochemistry that I have been taught at the best public university in the world. ADHD is fundamentally a dopamine regulation disorder, not a deficit of intelligence, not a deficit of effort. It's just a deficit of dopamine availability in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles planning, task initiation, and follow through. It's also the part of our brain that we make our decision making and the part where our personality is in. Usually, neurotypical brains get a baseline dopamine drip that makes routine feels doable. On the other hand, our brain, we need something be interesting, novel, challenging, urgent, or personally meaningful to fire that dopamine. It's not there. We don't have a baseline dopamine. We lack the regulation of that dopamine. So without those 5 things, our brain literally goes and is like, I'm offline. I don't need to be doing anything. Look at that wall for like 4 hours. This is what I have introduced before as INCAP, which is interest, novelty, challenge, urgency, and passion. This is the activation framework your brain runs on. And once you know this, you stop trying to force yourself through willpower and you start engineering the right conditions. That's the whole video, essentially. 5 hacks. They're not cute little tips. They're dopamine interventions. So let's go. Hack 1 is something I call destimulation. And I know it sounds made up, but stay with me. Our ADHD brain are hypersensitive to sensory input. When there's too much going on, notifications, people talking, bad lighting, too many objects on your desk, our brain interprets all of this data as stimulation. And instead of adding dopamine, actually gathers what little we have. It's like you have 64 gigabytes of RAM, and the more tabs you're opening, the more it's consuming. So you have less for the important tab that you actually are working on. So what do? Destimulate. What does that mean? It means the opposite of stimulation. It's intentionally reducing the input that we get from our environment. So our brain doesn't fight to filter what we need and what we do not need. So it doesn't fight the world before we actually start working. For me, this, for example, looks like a song playing on repeat, a playlist playing on repeat. It's not something new or something is like, oh, what is that? Something that I've heard like 3,000 times. Why do I do that? So my brain stops novelty seeking through the music. Another thing, just a candle for like 1 candle. I have my phone always face down, not just on silent, face down so you don't see the notifications. And I usually always do a clean day where I just clear my desk, except of what I need during that task. And of course, decoration that is there like all the time. So it's not novel, if that makes sense. The goal isn't to like eliminate every sensation you have. It's to choose what sensory input that you're like filtering instead of letting it choose you. Think of it like this. You're creating a container that tells your brain we're on focus mode right now. We're now focusing on not everything else. Honestly, the moment I started doing this consistently, I stopped feeling like I was fighting my own nervous system every time I sat down to study, which helped make me study. Okay, let's go to hack 2. And this one is going to sound like the advice your mom gives you, so I'm sorry about that. But I promise that there's actually neuroscience behind this. You probably heard take breaks before. What nobody explains to you is why does that work for ADHD brains specifically? So let me do that. When we do a task that requires a sustained cognitive load or effort, like reading a very dense historical paper, writing essays, or doing physics problems, we deplete our dopamine that we already have in our prefrontal cortex. So what does our brain do? It's like, wee-oo, this is done. I need a reward. And if we ignore that signal, the wee-oo, and keep pushing, we go into something called functional freeze. And science made this. I didn't make this shit up. It's all science. Let me make it clearer for you. You know the feeling when you're technically sitting at your desk, but you're absolutely nothing is happening? That's a functional freeze. Your brain has checked out. Yes, you may have been doing the task. Yes, you may have been watching the lecture, but you don't know what's going on. Your brain is just nothing. It's nothing. It's not there. That is a functional freeze. The fix for this problem isn't just power through or willpower or discipline or whatever those influencers say. It's literally your brain telling you, please, let's do something else. That's why we have to dopamine switch. What does that mean? Brain time, fun time. Not just like as a reward system, but as like refueling. Like you work for 5 minutes, okay. After that, I'll paint for 10 minutes. I'll watch that show that I've been wanting to watch for like a year in that 10 minutes. And then I stop the episode and continue my studying. 10 minutes. Not because I earned it, but because my brain actually needs that dopamine to re-engage. That's why sometimes when I feel like, to be honest, my brain is not there yet, take an extra 5 minutes. And that's okay. I'm a painter. I'm studying MCB, economics and psychology. I used to feel guilty when I switched between them. Now I know that switching between them is actually a strategy for me. Being a polymath isn't a problem. It's my dopamine management system. The goal is to be an artist who does science, not a scientist who wishes she was doing art. Hack number 3 is something that replaced my old to-do list entirely. I do not have a to. And I know that sounds extreme. Like, what do I do if I don't have to-do list? But hear me out. Traditional time blocking assumes your energy is consistent throughout the day, which is simply not true. Not for everybody, but especially not for ADHD brains, where our dopamine cortisol cycles are biologically irregular. So instead of scheduling tasks, I schedule energy modes. I've talked about this in a couple of videos before because it's so important. It's so important. Every morning, I do what I call a 24-hour time scan. What does that mean? I basically ask myself, when do I feel sharp? Like, when do I feel foggy? When do I feel creative? And then I map out my day that way. And to map that day out, I use something called time containers. Blocks of time that are, yes, they're fixed in duration, but they're flexible in content. I know this 3-hour gap is for doing homework or studying. It's my deep thinking time, which I would label deep thinking. And this one is for low effort tasks. And that one is for something else. And I only ever commit to 3 tasks in these time periods, not for just 3. If I do these 3 things well, that's a full day. If I do more, great. But the 3 task ceiling stops the spiraling feeling of like I failed because I didn't finish a list of like 17 things that I had to do. Okay, so this one is gonna sound a little bit, to be honest, more like completely irresponsible. So are you ready? The do it badly rule. I'm serious. The do it badly rule is start the task at the worst time possible or at the worst way possible. Write the most terrible first sentence. I know we call this the shitty first draft here at Berkeley, which is your first draft at writing. It's called shitty first draft because you're just vomiting words on paper. And it does work. Why does it work? Because what perfectionism does to like our ADHD brain, it creates a threat response. It heightens our alert system that was there originally to fight off lions. I don't know, when we were in Africa. Or like fight something off. I don't know, like I don't know what your ancestors did, but you get what I mean. So if that activates your threat response and you feel like the task needs to be done perfectly, our brain just categorizes that a dangerous thing. That's the lion that is gonna chase me in the middle of the jungle. I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? No, I'm gonna just freeze. Not very smart, but that's what our brain thinks. So why don't you just allow to do the task badly? If you're allowed, you were like, I just want to start. I do not care what the fuck I do. I just want to start. This dissolves that threat. And once you start, even badly, you rarely actually stop after that. You just continue because that dopamine kicked in. Dopamine that you wanted. And then you hyper focus and finish the task that you've been procrastinating for 3 months. Like I literally started so many papers writing the most horrendous shit you ever see. Like it's like a 5-year-old wrote it. Like to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if a 5-year-old wrote it. But that's the point. You get in the flow and you give yourself, or I give myself in that, permission to just be human. Perfectionism is not the standard. It's a paralysis mechanism. It was there at one point to help us live, help us adapt, but now it's not serving us. So what do? Do it badly, which beats perfect, not done perfect. We do it badly because it beats not doing it at all because of perfectionism. The last one isn't really a hack. It's a mindset shift. And it might be the most important thing I'm gonna say. We live in a world, especially in our communities and our high achieving academic environments, where accommodations feel like cheating. Like, if you need a different system to function, you're somehow less capable from someone else. But I want to tell you something. An accommodation is not a shortcut. It's not an advantage. It's the adjustment that you need to start at an equal line. I use noise canceling headphones. I use my leather journal as an extension of my brain, so I don't have to hold everything in my head. I chunk my reading into 20-minute blocks with movement in between. I ask professors for written instructions instead of verbal ones. I ask professors for different exam dates or extensions for assignments, not because it's cheating, because it's working for my neurology instead of against it. Accommodations are better than doing nothing the normal way. I saw that in a comment on a video like this once, and I wrote it in my journal because sometimes we need to hear it out. We need to hear it out loud. So here is your prescription. Hack 1, destimulate. Design your sensory environment before you try to work. Hack 2, dopamine switching. Brain fun, refuel, don't reward. Hack 3, energy modes and time containers. Scan your day before you schedule it. Hack 4, the do it badly rule. Perfectionism is a paralysis mechanism. Start ugly. Do your first shitty drop. Hack 5, accommodate yourself. The goal is to make the playing field fair. Full stop. I want to know which one of these resonated with you guys. Leave the one that resonated more in the comments below, because I do read all your comments, even the ones that come in at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I try to reply to them as fast as I could. If you're here today, my name is Alanude. I'm a pre-med at UC Berkeley, studying MCB, economics, and psychology. I have ADHD, and this is my channel where I document what it looks like to build a life with my brain, not despite it. If you really enjoyed this video, you can watch my last video about being a polymath, how to become one. I hope you really enjoyed my video today, and I want to remind you, if you do it badly, we fail. I fail all the time, and it's okay. But when we give ourselves the grace and the permission to just do it, it makes a difference in the world. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and if you did, please give me a like, share, and subscribe, and see you later. Bye bye.